Welcome to Conversations with Miss Marcy, the podcast where we get real about relationships, culture, and the truth that shapes us. No fluff, no filters, just bold conversations that matter. Now let's dive in. Hey, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Miss Marcy. I am Miss Marcy. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm so glad you decided to stop in and listen. So, I also want to say don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and follow this podcast. Oh, and I want to let you guys know that we are now on Amazon. Yes. So we are pretty much where all podcasts are played. So whichever one you like to listen to on, go ahead and do that. And don't forget to share this podcast with your mama and them, your friends and them, your uncle and them, your baby mama and them, your baby father and them. So everybody can tune in and hear what we talk about. So I am just hanging out, relaxing. I had a pretty good weekend. This was Valentine's Day weekend, y'all. So yes, and I had a very good time last night. We went to dinner and we went to the cabaret, which is an annual cabaret that they have here. We had so much fun. I so enjoyed myself. And at first, I wasn't trying to because I was like, oh, I thought I had to work today and everything and be up early. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is going to like really like get in the way of my fun. But turns out I ended up not having to work. But I'm glad that when I was there at the cabaret, I still chose to have fun. I was like, you know what? We already got these tickets. I'm like, allow yourself to have fun. Worry about that jam job later. Don't even worry about it. So that's what I did. And I'm so glad that I did because man, and when I tell you the DJ saved my life, last night the DJ saved my life. Man, I love hearing and I don't know if it was the liquor that got into me or if it was just the music or just maybe a combination of both. But man, I came home feeling so good. But yeah, so that was that. I feel like it's been a while since I've talked to you guys. So let me go ahead and do this mental health check in. So where I'm at right now is I'm cool. Like I said, I've had a pretty good weekend. I had a pretty good week. And I don't know, I just feel in a place of more of authenticity. And I think that's what I've been truly focusing on as of late. I feel like I'm just in this season, and I talked about it before, where I just want to really focus on and basically keep my feelings at the forefront, but not too much because you don't want to be in your feelings so much about things or about certain situations to where you kind of don't see other people's point of view. Because I always like to make sure I see other people's point of view and everything. So yeah. And you know what? Speaking of that, a lady left a comment on one of my YouTube videos, and I'm gonna share it with y'all here in a second. But let me get back to so I've been trying to stay true to, like I said, my feelings because in the past I didn't do that, and I would allow myself to feel a certain way about certain things in certain situations, and I wouldn't address it because I was always fearful of, I don't want to piss this person off or that person. But now I'm just like, you know what, it's gonna have to be what it's gonna have to be. So, with that being said, I'm just in the space of just authenticity, just basically being honest with myself, even if the honesty is not so pretty. So what I was mentioning a few minutes ago was there was this lady I was kind of going back and forth with on my YouTube channel in reference to, I don't know if y'all remember, but I did a video about a young lady who did a live stream of her daughter's birthday party. I think her daughter was turning like 2 or something like that. And nobody showed up to the birthday party. Nobody showed up. And The young lady recorded herself. She was crying and stuff. She was so upset. And she was like really just mad, which understandably so. Her feelings was hurt. And then so it went viral and everything. And I had did it, like I said, I even did a TikTok about it too. But my standpoint was I felt like I understood her grief and just her disappointment in the people. But I said the baby is fine though, because the baby was she was so precious. She was so precious, so cute, just laughing and playing and stuff like a 2 year old should. So I said, you know what? I understand that, she's upset, but I feel like the bigger picture is the child. The baby is fine. And the good of what's going on. She has no awareness rather of what's going on, and she doesn't care or give a shit of who's supposed to be there or who's not. She don't know any better, and that's what matters. What you don't want is for your child to be able to acknowledge it and see that nobody showed up, and that would hurt her feelings, and that can also be traumatizing. Because actually one of my good girlfriends, her birthday is December 22nd, and so, needless to say, it's close to Christmas. So, she recalls a time when she was a little girl and her mother had her birthday party and nobody showed up. And to this day, my friend is actually traumatized by that when it comes to her birthday. Like, whenever her birthday comes up, she kind of gets a little anxious and gets a little, yeah, a little anxious and just a little overwhelmed because she's always thinking about people not showing up. So that was my whole point. But I had a lady who was in my comments and she said, she said, I don't agree with you because she said you're saying that I'm going to sum up what she said because I can't remember verbatim, but she was basically saying you are being dismissive of her feelings because you are saying that the baby is the bigger picture. Excuse me. Mm. She's like, you're saying the baby is the bigger picture. She was like, but really the problem is her community, her not her community, but her village of people didn't show up for her, and she still needs that support. And that is the bigger picture. And she was like, if you don't get it, you just don't get it. So me and her were kind of going back and forth, not in a disrespectful manner, just respectfully, because I don't have to disrespectfully disagree with anybody. But we were going back and forth, whatever. And she said, you just don't get it. You just don't get it. And I said, I promise you I get it. I am simply just saying, matter of fact, let me see something. Let me try to just go to it for real, for real. So because I want y'all to know exactly what she said. Because it was very interesting. I really appreciated her comment, rather, you know. So she said, hold on, let me go back. Just watch the video with the young lady. Hold on. So I just watched the video with the young lady who was on live crying because nobody came to her baby's birthday party. Hold on. And you know what? She said, okay, so here it is right here. She said, as a 54-year-old woman, I have to say I am sick of women telling other women that their feelings don't count. That mama is a baby to me. No, that ain't where it started. Okay, here it go. My bad. Here it go. She said, she said, damn, where the hell does it start? Okay, here it is. Here it is right here. I was reading the right one. She said, I didn't. She said, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, yeah. Okay, she said, as a 54-year-old woman, I have to say I am sick of women telling other women that their feelings don't count. That mama is a baby to me at my age. Her feelings are the big picture. Just because you are a mom doesn't erase you or how important your feelings are. Yes, the baby is fine, but she wasn't crying about the baby. She was crying because she had no community, and community is important to all of us. Stop erasing women because they are mothers. I said I didn't disregard or dismiss the mother's feelings. I acknowledged that it was understandable that her feelings were hurt. When I say the bigger picture is the child, her feelings and her well being, that's because that is the bigger picture. It would have been even more traumatizing had that baby been at an age where she can't actually know the difference. I have a friend, and I talked about my friend here. I said I have a friend who experienced this when she was a kid because her birthday is close to Christmas. So her mother had her a birthday party and nobody showed up. But my friend was at an age where she could remember So to this day, she is traumatized behind that when it comes to her birthday. And we were in, and we are now in our 40s. There is a lesson in this for this young lady, which is to start her own new community for her and her children. It was messed up for those people. It was messed up that those people did not show up, but she cannot control that. She can only control her actions, and that's why I say going forward, she needs to just build her own new community. So then the lady came back and she said, "You totally proved the point I was making once again. The mother's feelings are the bigger picture, and you did undercut the mother by saying the child was the bigger picture. If you don't get it, you don't get it." So I said, "I promise you I get it. I am simply saying that even though she is hurt, there is nothing she can do about what those people did." When I first saw the video, I felt so bad for her. But when I saw that the baby was smiling and didn't know what was going on, I was glad. And it made me like think like, you know what? F those people. The baby is good. So that made me feel a little better about the situation. Not taken away from the mother's feelings at all. My thing is the mother can't dwell on the situation or dwell on the hurt. All she can do is learn from it. And as I said before, be thankful that the baby has no understanding of the situation. So this, she came back. She said, "You know what I like about you? You can hold a conversation. We may not agree because I still see that woman as a baby. Her hurt is going to either continue or she is going to make difference. She's going to make different choices in the people she calls her people. That is a big picture item. I am old enough to be her mom and I am devastated for her." She said, "You are lovely in that you stand your ground and still hold a place for me. Not everyone has that ability today. God bless you, my dolly. You will always be welcomed at my door." I thought that was so sweet. And I said, "Oh, thank you so much for your kind words. That means a lot. Yes, I certainly respect and appreciate your feelings on the matter. You are always welcome over here." And I put little heart emojis. I thought that was really nice. But yeah, so for me, when I disagree with people, it's never to, be dismissive or undercut nobody's feelings or anything like that. And I don't ever have a problem with nobody disagreeing with me. I just always feel like we can respectfully disagree with one another. So I thought that was really cool. So, yes, y'all, it's been a really nice day today. It's actually warm, and that's kind of weird for this month. I wonder what we're gonna get next week. Now they say we're supposed to get in the 50s and 60s, and that's even more weird for this month. Like y'all, that is just crazy. That's scary to me. I don't care what nobody say. That is scary to me. And I was talking to a friend, and we were talking about how different places get different types of weather, and people be trying to, shit on Ohio and be like, "Oh, y'all be getting that snow," which we don't always get. But it's still like I'd rather get the snow than the other stuff that we could be getting for real. Cause like the week before, it was like super, super cold and it was just like nuts. But yeah, it's crazy. The weather's crazy. The time is crazy. The way it's flying by. Speaking of time flying, I went up to a friend of mine's birthday party. She had her 50th birthday party a few weeks ago. My friend LaShonda, shout out to her because she's also a listener to this podcast. So she had her 50th birthday party and we had a really good time. She had a really good turnout. A lot of people showed up for her and everything. I thought that was really nice. And it's just crazy how people, and because she and I've been knowing each other for a long time. And I'm just like, wow, like we look back on the years and we reminisce on certain things. And like we were talking about me, her, and another friend of hers. We were talking about a trip we took to Cincinnati many years ago. We went to a cabaret and it was so fun. And it's just so crazy how that was so many years ago. And it's like, damn, like I was still in my 20s when we, took that trip or whatever. And it's just crazy. I don't know. I just feel like time just flying. Time ain't waiting for nobody. And me and my mom was just talking about that too, how time is just not waiting for anybody. So yeah. And also I did tune into the Super Bowl. Did y'all watch that? You know what? This year's Super Bowl, it wasn't like any other year. This was probably like I don't know, this one, and I think the one during COVID where what's his name? The Weekend performed. That might have been, but see, back then we know the reason why it was kind of what it was back then was because of COVID, so people couldn't really get into it like that. But this year, I was like, man, it just didn't have that same hype, that same enthusiasm like last year did. Like last year when the Eagles play, oh my God, the Kansas City Chiefs, oh my gosh, I think that's who they play. Yeah. So this year it was the Patriots versus the England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks, and the score was like 29-13, I believe. But at first it was like the Patriots wasn't scoring anything. We was like, oh my gosh, this is a blowout. So, but in the performance, I didn't have a problem with it. It was Bad Bunny. His halftime. Oops, excuse me. Hold on. Woo, woo. Mm. Sorry about that. Ooh, my sneezes always come in twos and threes. I'm sorry. So anyway, so I didn't really have a problem with the halftime performance. I know there's been some controversy about it, and I don't know. I just feel like for the past like 5 years, it's like we have African Americans have been holding down the Super Bowl stage, which I wish they would go on and let Chris Brown touch that stage, but I don't think that's gonna ever happen. But we had, let me see, Beyonce had, she's done it a few times because I know I think Beyonce did the Super Bowl maybe 3 times. Well, the first time she did it, I think was like years ago, like 2015, 24, somewhere in there. But the most recent was like her and Bruno Mars, and then we had 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, Snoop, and them, Mary J, and all them. They did theirs. That was around 2022, I think. Then we had Rihanna, 2023. Then we had Ursha, 2024, I believe. And then last year, who performed last year? Hold on, who performed last year for the Super Bowl? Oh, Kendrick. Yeah, how can I forget that? Yes. But they're saying that Bad Bunny's was the most viewed Super Bowl. They said his outdid Kendrick's, which is interesting because I know, like with Kendrick's, that was, oh my gosh, that was the most I think that people tried to mock a Super Bowl because, oh my gosh, on social media, everybody was doing the little dances and stuff. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm not mad at the performance. I mean, I didn't really, I wasn't really into it. Like, oh my gosh, this is great. But I mean, I didn't think it was terrible or anything like that. And I was okay with the switch up. Like I said, we done had it on lock for the past 5 years. So it was all good to me. All right, y'all. So with that being said, let me go ahead and get into our sponsor for today. All right. We're going to do that real quick. And then we'll be right back. And I got some things I want to talk about, y'all. And it's really like, yeah, we got to talk about some things. Okay. All right. All right, y'all, real quick. I want to give a shout out to Trayvon Martin with American Income Life Insurance. If you're here in Ohio and thinking about protecting your family, Trayvon makes it super easy and personal. And here's something I love. They've got the Legacy Head Start program. It's really affordable and it's all about giving your kids a head start in life. We all want the best for our kids, right? So why not give them a little boost for their future? I also want to mention the Child Safe Kits, which are absolutely free. These kits offer peace of mind for parents in case of an emergency or if your child goes missing. Having all their critical information in one place helps law enforcement respond faster and more effectively. Also, the Child Safe Kits provides a centralized location for personal info, physical descriptors, and fingerprints, which are crucial for creating Amber Alerts or sharing with authorities. If you are in Ohio and you are serious about protecting your family, you can reach Trayvon at 937-430-9044 or hit him on his email at Trey Martin, which is TREMARTIN 32 at gmail.com. Just tell them Conversations with Miss Marcy sent you and get your family's future protected today. Speaking of family and speaking of children, so I heard we all pretty much at this time heard the sad news about Little John, the rapper Little John, his son. They found him. Well, first he was missing. He had went missing a few weeks ago, and then they actually found his body in a nearby pond or something like that. This happened in, I believe it was was it Atlanta, I believe. And I mean, yeah, that's just terribly sad. So I posted this on my page. It says, after he was reported missing on February 3rd, it has been confirmed that Lil Jon's son, 27-year-old Nathan Smith, is deceased. His body was discovered in an area pond. So far, foul play is not suspected in this case. I promise my heart goes out to Lil Jon and his family, as I can imagine this is such a devastating time. I believe this was Lil Jon's only son. I mean, I think this was his only child. And it's crazy because, like I said, me and my mom, we were just talking about how it just seemed like so many parents are outliving their children these days, you know? So, I don't know. It's just sad. And it's so crazy because I just saw Little John on the Breakfast Club, and he was, talking about how I think he just turned 50 or somewhere in his 50s or whatever. And he was talking about, just how he's doing in life, and it's just so sad because it's like this would be something that would set anybody back, if you are, trying to do good, which is he just turned 55, brother. I'm sorry. If you are trying to do good in life, or you trying to just turn over a new leaf or whatever, and then something like this happens, oh my gosh. So I really do have a lot of sympathy for situations like that because it's so sad. That's not the divine order. It's supposed to be, you know, children are supposed to bury their parents at some point. But it's just like, man, I don't know. Like, man, I just so sad. So speaking of families and everything, there's been a lot of talk on the internet about Glorilla and her sister. Her sister name is Victoria, I believe. I think that's her name. So Victoria did a video where she was pretty much like crashing out, basically saying that Glorilla owes her money because Glorilla's been on for about 4 years and hasn't done a single thing for for her or the family. And she feels that she's owed something. She's like, she's been on for 4 years and she ain't did nothing. And, people were commenting like, oh, she don't owe you anything, this and that and everything. So it was a lot of back and forth. Then Glorilla came on with receipts and things like that. And then the sister came back with her own receipts and everything. So I don't know. Like I said, there's been a lot of conversation online about the situation. I'm not here to judge them or speculate on their relationship. I want to talk about something bigger that this situation highlights. Okay. Something just deeper. Now, and it's basically when family or friends feel entitled. So, like for example, I remember always thinking that when you become successful, you always have to deal with somebody thinking that, and it's always family. It's mainly family, somebody thinking you think you too good or you think you better than and things like that. It's like, why do families sometimes feel entitled to your success? You know? And what happens when one person outgrows the family dynamic? How do boundaries look when money changes the relationship? So as I ask these questions and I'm thinking to myself, why do families sometimes feel entitled to your success? I think it's because when you grow up with a person and you know a person because y'all grew up together, there's this sense of, oh, I should have what you have, when it's something good anyway. That's how people think. But at the end of the day, it's like, if I went off to school, if I went off to college and if I did the work to better myself and to put myself in a position to where I could have, I could be blessed to be able to have wealth or whatever my heart desired, it is not fair for family to think that I owe them or just to think someone owes them because they have reached a level of success and wealth that everybody else in the family may not have or possess. So it's really unfair to just say, "Oh, well, since we grew up together, or you my sister, we struggled together, or you my brother, we struggled together. I remember when we didn't have this, or we didn't have that, and we didn't have food at times, or this, that. So now, oh, you got it big, you got it going on, you owe me." That's not fair, and that's not like this is not that way of thinking. I think, like I said, it goes back to feeling like because you grew up close with someone, or sometimes, let me take that back. Sometimes it don't even have to be a close family member. Sometimes it could be family just because they know y'all share blood. They feel like, oh, I should be able to reach out to you. I should be able to reach out to him or her, and I should be able to ask them for a loan because we're family. That's what family's supposed to do. I think it boils down to your ideology of family and what you think family looks like and what it means. Because to some people, family is about getting together, sharing memories, creating memories together, and just enjoying each other's presence. That's my idea of family, actually, and uplifting each other and being there for each other when times are rough, or just being there for each other, period, for emotional support and things like that. My ideology of what family means doesn't really revolve around financial. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, I do believe that, yes, if I have it to give, if I have it, if I'm in a position to give it to a family member who is truly in need, then yes, you should help that family member out. But you don't do it because, oh, we family. You just do it because you want to see your family be okay. And it's really that simple. But I wouldn't do it because I feel like, oh, I'm obligated. No, that's not right. And I don't think a family member should put that type of pressure on a person or put that type of guilt on a person. That's not right. Especially, like I said, if the person worked hard to get to that level of success. I remember when I was a kid, my grandfather, he was a jeweler. And we at that time, of course, we kids, we don't know any better, but we always thought he's supposed to give us free jewelry all the time. Just, hey, what if I want this, I should be able to get it. Now, he did make a lot of us some pieces when we were children. I actually still have a bracelet that he handmade for me when I was like about 19. So I still have that. But my whole point is, he was running a business, even though he was our grandfather, he was still a businessman. And it's like, you know, proximity doesn't equal entitlement. Like, so, and also I feel like I want to talk about when one person outgrows the family dynamic. Like I was saying, when somebody outgrows the living, just the style of living. And it's always said that, oh, they think they better than. I don't think it's that they think they better than. I think it's like more of they want it better for themselves. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And in a sense, maybe they do think they're better than that situation, but that's not to offend nobody else. Now, it's the difference between somebody thinking they're better than a situation and they're turning their nose down on others who are still in that situation or what have you. But there's nothing wrong with somebody who feels that they want to do better for themselves and they want to just be above a certain situation that they came up in. They don't want that for themselves or their children. There's nothing wrong with that. And I don't think that should be looked at as, oh, they think they're better than. You'll be surprised at how much of that goes on in families. I noticed that a lot of families, including my own, there's this sector of people who do well, go to college, are successful in terms of whatever you deem success as. If you deem it as going to college and getting degrees and all that kind of stuff, okay. But they go off, do their thing, go to school, go to college, drive nice cars, have a nice home and things like that. Then you got the sector of family members and families who they really maybe didn't do a lot, for themselves. And a lot of times those are the ones who tend to act entitled. And it's like, why is it always the ones who really didn't do much for themselves or who are not doing for themselves? And like I mentioned, my grandfather earlier, he was the type of person, he was not stingy, but he was the type of person who felt like, listen, I'm not going to help you if you're not helping yourself. He was big on that. If he knew that you were helping yourself, he would definitely help you financially or whatever. he would definitely help you. And I think that's fair because I don't think it's fair for anybody to expect a handout. Shoot, if we all could just sit up and get handouts, I mean, man. But somebody who's working and they're working hard, it's like, oh no, 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 because I'm not getting a handout. You see what I'm saying? So it's like if this person's not getting a handout and they're busting their ass and they're going to school, they're going to college or whatever, they're doing what they have to do to get to that point, then no, why should they hand you anything? And it's also a thing where if a person cuts that access, it's like, oh yeah, 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 you think you all that. Just I mean, it's just like, and that's not fair. So I like I said, I haven't had anyone who actually came at me in a way where they acted like I owe them anything. But I will say that I wouldn't be afraid to tell them no. I'm sorry. Like and I guess I'm that kind of person. Like if you are not helping yourself, I mean, I more likely will help you here and there, but I'm not gonna always, because sometimes that can be abusive. Like that's abusing your what is it? You're abusing a person's help where they're helping you all the time and you just keep on milking it. You keep milking it, and it's like that's not right. So it's like I wouldn't let nobody make me feel guilty either at all. So it's like I want to ask you guys listening. Have you ever felt like your success became communal property? And at what point does support turn into expectation? And can you love someone and still limit access? I would say yes. You can love someone and still limit access. And that's what I was kind of mentioning before. But when you when you limit that access, you consider bougie or you think you're better than. And at what point does support turn into expectation? Like I was saying, when people feel like, oh, you got it. You got it. You can help me out. So, now I will say, like I said, it's like people have to understand that when other people work hard, they're not going to feel like they owe anybody anything. So it's like when someone in the family becomes successful, the family dynamics always shift from we're proud of you to what are you going to do for us? And let's talk about guilt versus generosity because there's a difference between giving from abundance or giving from pressure or giving to avoid conflict. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to tell you something. I won't give for neither one. I would give from abundance. I'm sorry. I would give because I have it. But I'm not giving from pressure or to avoid conflict. No, 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 no. I knew a guy who used to say that people would always ask him for money and stuff, and he would get mainly his family members, and he would give it to them just so they would leave him the fuck alone. I said, honey, they'll leave me the fuck alone regardless, but I ain't giving them nothing just so they can leave me alone. They gonna leave me alone regardless. Uh, mm-mm. It's like, see, boundaries don't equal betrayal, and I think that's what people got to understand. It's like sometimes we confuse access with love. You see, and that's not it. Just because I love you doesn't mean that, oh, well, I love you, so yeah, because I do love you, every time you ask me for a penny, I need to give it to you. So yeah, I don't know. But like I said, I feel like it's one of those things where I do understand that when you do kind of like when you shift from the family dynamic that you grew up in, I mean, there could be some jealousy and resentment from other family members. There will be. And I want to say this, jealousy, to be honest with you, jealousy and envy, it's a human It's a human emotion. It's not one that people like to acknowledge or people like to admit that they are feeling, but it's a human emotion. It's normal actually. Because if you think about it, like I said, if you grew up with somebody and y'all grew up a certain way together and y'all both struggled together, and then one person makes it out of that situation, they made the decision to make certain decisions that would put them in a position to get out of that situation. You can't be mad if you didn't make the same decision. You can't be mad. But like I said, I know that that is a human emotion. So it's like it makes it hard. It makes it hard to even continue to be around those people because, like I said earlier, all families have that dynamic where they got a sector of people who do well for themselves. Then they got the sector who just kind of like, yeah, whatever. They just, smoking weed and just living off the system, maybe, or just they don't really want better for themselves. And if you don't want better for yourself, that is okay. If you are comfortable with just living a certain way where it's like, hey, that's okay. But if you are in a position, if you are living like that and you are in a position that keeps you always asking people for money, always asking people to do things for you, I think at that point you should reevaluate your situation or your lifestyle and try to do something different. Because as an adult, you shouldn't always want to be asking people for anything anyway. Just always keep in mind, nobody owes you anything. They don't. They really don't. Not even your parents. I know you've seen people who have kids or whatever, and they're always dumping their children off on their parents. Always. Just dumping their kids off just for the heck of it. Just, oh, I want to go out with my friends. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand as a parent, everybody needs a break. But again, it goes back to that word abuse. You're abusing your help. You're abusing the fact that you know that your parents are going to babysit your children because they want them with them because obviously they know they're going to be safe. But it's like I feel like even that's wrong. You feel entitled to your mom always watching your children or always got your kids. And that's wrong. You decided to have the baby, and which is a fine thing, but it's like you decided to have children. So it's like you have to make the decision to be responsible and all, be with your kids most of the time instead of just always putting them on your family members or whatever. And people do that a lot too. People be feeling like family is entitled to help take care of their kids. And I'm not going, I'm not being funny, but yeah, family can help you with your children. They can, but they don't have to be honest. They don't. Nobody is entitled or obligated to take care of your children except the mother and the father of those children. Though the parents are obligated, nobody else is obligated. Now, it is nice if, grandma want to step in and help out all she can. That's nice. But grandma don't have to do that. She do it because she want to, and she do it because she love you, but she don't do it because she have to. And I think it's sad when some people try to make their parents feel guilty. Oh, well, you didn't do this for me when I was growing up, or you should at least watch my kid. You know what I'm saying? I done seen it all. And I'll be like, dang. So when we get into these type of dynamics, it's sometimes it's a lot that goes with it. It's not always just one thing. Sometimes it's people feel entitled for just different reasons. Sometimes they feel, like I said, because y'all grew up together, or because maybe they felt like they did a lot for you. And so now you owe them, you know? So I don't know. I don't even feel like as you, if you become a certain age, I don't even feel like parents owe their children or that children owe their parents. I don't feel like that. Mm-mm. I've seen situations where you have a dynamic where sometimes parents still have to lean on their children a lot. Now, this is what I mean by neither one owes each other. I feel like if a parent is still a able body, still of a sound mind, they can work and things like that. I don't think a parent should be having their adult children take care of them. I don't. And I don't think an adult child should feel guilty and say, you know what, my parents took care of me. Your parents took care of you because they had to. Your parent decided to have you. Your parent made the decision to have a child. And that's what the parent was supposed to do, was to take care of you. You don't owe your parent, you know, to take care of your parent, who is, like I said, of a sound mind, able body, can work, but they rather not work because they know they have a child that can take care of them. You don't owe that. Now you can take care of your parent because you love and respect them, but you don't do it because you're obligated. Like, I got, no, you don't. Now it's different, obviously, if your parent is not able and your parent is, you know, um, you know what I mean. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. If your parent is got, dementia or something like that, or they're just not able to take care of themselves, that's totally different. And when it comes to parents, I don't feel like a parent owes their child. Like, I feel like once they've done their part in raising their child, and the child is grown, because you see that's a lot. You see this a lot too. You see a lot of entitled kids as far as when it comes to their parents. Like, oh my gosh, you see grown adults. I'm talking about grown adults, and they still be having their parents do all kind of stuff, cook for them, do their laundry, all this stuff. They always moving in with them, living with them, and I mean, some of these are grown people who got kids of their own. Sometimes that's unfair. Your parent did their part raising you, but now they're still kind of helping you raise. They're still kind of raising you because you won't leave the nest. You still want to come home all the time. You still feel like you're entitled, and they can't even, live their retired life, worry free, because here you come. Here your entitled butt come. So I just think that it's all a thing where people just have to make better decisions so they don't have to be in certain positions. And this is not me judging anybody. This is just, I'm just going off of things that I've observed over the years. So now let's get into my new segment for Black History Month only. This is when we'll do this. But this is called Hidden Figures. All right, y'all. We're going to get into that real quick. Welcome to our segment of Hidden Figures. In this episode of Hidden Figures, we highlight Dr. Charles Richard Drew. Born on June the 3rd of 1904 to African American parents, Charles attended Howard University, which is a HBCU. Charles Drew became the first Black American to earn a Doctor of Science in Medicine from Columbia University. But did you know that millions of lives have been saved because of Dr. Charles Drew? He was often called the father of the blood bank. It was because of his groundbreaking work in blood plasma storage that revolutionized modern blood banks. This also helped the lives of soldiers in World War II. Now, this also led to him being appointed as director of the first American Red Cross blood bank in February of 1941. His work was so good that they just couldn't deny it. They just couldn't resist appointing him as the director. He also invented what would be later known as blood mobiles, which was mobile donation stations that could collect the blood and refrigerate it. This allowed for greater mobility in terms of transportation and increased prospective donations. Now, although the blood bank supplied blood to the U.S. Army and Navy, they initially rejected the blood of African Americans, and they later accepted it only if it were stored separately from that of whites. Now, Dr. Drew objected to this exclusion of African Americans' blood from plasma supply networks, and in 1942, he resigned in protest. Dr. Drew died on April the 1st of 1950 at the age of 45. He actually died from a car accident where one of his feet became so badly injured that it became fatal. And what's crazy is that I've driven past the Drew Health Center in Dayton, Ohio for years, but I never knew the powerful story behind the name until now. You see, that's why this series exists. Yes, 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 y'all. I hope y'all like that. So yeah, I want to do this for the whole month of February. And because, I want to highlight hidden figures. There are a lot of people of color. There are a lot of black people who have made and created things that we don't really hear about all the time. And I think that was one of them. So I really do appreciate that. I really appreciate that. And like I said, in Dayton, Ohio, we had the Drew Health Center, and I never knew the story behind it. It was just like a very popular health center. So it was just really cool to know what was going on. I mean, it was really cool to know that where this came from. So, yeah. So, anyway, so going back to what I was saying, that I just think that overall, when it comes to, you know, families and the family dynamic of people feeling entitled to help, whether it be help with, like I said, always thinking somebody need to help take care of their kids or watch their kids or whatever, or just the financial aspect where people feel like, oh, well, you doing good for yourself, you doing good in life, I'm struggling, you need to help me. No, people have to be accountable for their actions and for their own decisions that they make. And I know a lot of times we all have that family member or two or three who makes crazy decisions. I'm talking about piss poor decisions. But then when they have their, when things go a certain way, it's like they create their own rain and they get mad when it storms. You see what I'm saying? And those people, they don't like to be accountable for their actions. It's always everybody else's fault. Oh, everybody, it's always somebody else's fault, but it's never their own fault. It's never their fault. I feel like the sooner you can take accountability for your actions, the sooner in the decisions that you make, the sooner you actually will make better decisions, because now at this point you are more self-aware and you're being honest about your decisions. Like, you know what, I've been doing some bullshit. I sit up here and I smoke weed all the time, and then I'm failing drug tests and I can't get the type of job that I want. Well, then stop smoking weed. If I really want to get better, let me stop smoking weed. But if I can continue to blame every other people, man, they was some bullshit anyway. I think they was racist. They just didn't really want me to work there no way because of my record. No, no, and they probably was gonna give you a chance. There's a lot of companies that give you chances, not even and now even when you got a record. So that's not even always an excuse no more either. So it's like, yeah, instead of admitting that your ass is a weed head and you need to stop smoking weed and you need to just, get it together, you rather blame everybody else. But like I said, the sooner you decide that, you know what, enough is enough. I'm not living the type of life that I want, and I'm not bringing in the type of money that I want. So what can I do to change that? Instead of saying, well, my cousin so and so, shit, he got it going on. He making X amount of money a month, or he got his own business, or we family. He should do the You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, that situation just really made me think about it, because I'm like, man, she was going off about Glorilla. She was really going off. And I was like, dang, she was spilling all kind of family tea. And I'm like, well, dang, this needed to stay within the family. That's another thing. I get tired of people always want to expose stuff on the social media, on the internet. It's like, man, what do you get out of that? But hell, it seemed like ever since that, now she kind of getting a little stuff. And she think Tory Lane sent her some money, sent her like $2,500, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But it was just a big old mess, Like I said, I ain't here to judge neither one of them girls, but I actually like Glorilla. I like, out of all the female rappers, like right now, she's like one of my favorite. I love me some Glorilla, I do. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that, y'all. I hope you guys are having a great week. And I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you had a great Valentine's Day weekend. I hope you going forward have a great week. So I'm going to leave off with the quote of the day. This is by Denzel Washington. You pray for rain, you have to deal with the mud too. That's part of it. All right, guys, that's it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on social media. All right, take care.